Hi, this is Cousin Russ. I'm starting to do my Roots Tech 2022, and we'll see how this goes. I'm going to do work. If anybody comes in and wants to ask a question, I'll take them. I'm watching the chat. One thing that I'm going to do, and I don't normally do this, but I find that I need to do it today. Uh, because Roots Tech is normally where I meet a bunch of friends. I do it once a year, and is the developers of the Family Tree Maker program. Uh, the name of the company is Software Makiev, and there's reasons for that. Uh, I don't know the full story, but that's okay. But these friends that I have met are in the Ukraine. So I did a blog post yesterday on my blog of what we can do, and I'll put a link in the chat uh, that came from the Software Makiev website. So our friends, uh, my friends, that normally would be in the Family Tree Maker booth with me someplace, uh, uh, just know that we're thinking about them. Okay, I'm going to open up Family Tree Maker, and it's on the screen, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time here yet. Well, actually, I do, because what I want to do is what I do normally at the beginning of the day, and that is record what I did yesterday. So I'm going to go to the change log, and I'm going to click on the printer, and there is a PDF file that I'm going to create for the work that I did yesterday. There's a pop-up window, and I have a specific folder on my computer that I put the change log in. Let me see if I can get to the right folder, and got to move this out and move this over a little bit. So there we go. And this the change log. Now, when there is a change log, the PDF file, I uh, always add the date. So it's 2022 03 03, and I add the time. It's just something that I do. It's up to me. But so there is the change log, and I don't need to open it. It's there for me. But that gives me, so I know what I did yesterday. It's something that I started a while ago, and I find it very helpful. And there's other reasons which I've blogged about and did a couple of the test sessions here. I see that I have two people watching. If you would please just leave a comment of where you're watching from. And if you have any questions as I go along, please ask them in the chat, and I will answer them as I am able to. So I saved my change log, what I did yesterday. And if I look, if I get my pointer up here, uh, let me get it turned on. There we go. What I want to do is if I look here and I look here, I see that there's an up arrow. And the up arrow means that there's information. Hi, Mike, how are you? Good to see you, sir. Uh, the up arrow indicates that I have updated the file that's on my computer, and I need to sync it with Ancestry. And I've done this in the previous recordings, but I am live on YouTube doing what I normally would do. I'm not doing anything special. So I am working on the file here in the recording. So I have work to do. I want to upload what I have in from Family Tree Maker onto Ancestry. So my best practice is click on Tools, Compact File, Compact, and Backup. And as it's doing this, I'll explain what's happening. Uh, what I do is, like I did with the report before, I add the time of the backup. I have a specific folder in Family Tree Maker, in the folder where Family Tree Maker's reports and files are, and I add the time. The program starts with a date. I just add the time because I may do several backups today, and I want to make sure that I can get right back to the backup that I want. So I'm going to click OK, and it's just backed up everything, uh, all the data and the media files that are associated with this program. So I click OK. Now what is happening? The Family Tree Maker is doing some analysis of the database. It's fixing any problems it may see that I can't see, and it's compacting the file. It's a routine. If something were to happen during the compact file, I know that I can go back to the backup that I made just before I compacted the file. I want to see, what I want to see is 0%. That's what I want to see, and I may have to compact it several times, but I want it to get to 0%. So I now know that the file is ready to go. Now, one other thing, what I need to know is, can I do a sync? And the answer is yes. If I go to, I got to click OK. Fix my tools here. There we go. I clicked OK, and I go back to the plan workspace, and I'm also looking for the green circle. The green means that it's safe to do to upload and sync to Ancestry. I saw we have a couple other people who have joined the recording. If you just leave a comment, use thumbs up to let me know where you're watching from. And hopefully all those of you who are watching, except maybe Mike, uh, are at RootsTech-2022. And I'm just demonstrating Family Tree Maker while RootsTech-2022 is in progress. So I'm ready now to sync. So I click on Sync Now. Yeah, when I get my cursor back, I clicked on Sync Now, and Family Tree Maker is communicating with the servers on Ancestry. And Family Tree Maker is saying that the sync weather report is green. We're good to go. I can continue to sync. Now, Family Tree Maker right now is doing some analysis of what changes did I make. Hi, Marlon from Kansas. Thank you for dropping by. So I do a screen capture of that window so I know what changes were made yesterday that I am now syncing to Ancestry. I'm also going to view a detailed report. So this is the changes that were made yesterday uh, that I'm going to send up, and I'm to Ancestry, and I'm going to create a log of the sync. And as I have before, I have a sync log folder. And what I need to do here, though, is I'm going to add the file name. And I'm going to add the date, the third, isn't it? March 03, 1042. And I'm going to highlight that file name. So I'm taking that PDF file of the sync that I did and put it into the sync log folder. I don't need to see it. I always can go back to it. And I'm going to close that and I'm going to continue the sync. So those changes that I made in the file on my computer are now on Ancestry. Now, I'm going to bring a screen over here of that screen capture that I did, and I want to save it. I'm going to paste it, the file name same file name, except this is a JPEG file as opposed to a PDF file. And I want to put it where it needs to be in the sync log folder. So the JPEG file, that one that I just saved, and the PDF file are now all on my hard drive if I need to get to them, and the backup as well. So what I have done, I just completed the sync process, something that I do frequently, and this is my day. So I started out by saving the change log, and then I did my sync to Ancestry, and I'm ready to rock and roll. Now, today I'm going to go a step further. It's going to get complicated. It doesn't matter to me whether you follow along or it's just tools that I use to maintain this file. Now, what I'm doing now is bringing up that Ancestry member tree. So the data that's on my desktop computer and the stuff on Ancestry are the same. Now, what I want to focus on today, if I look at what I want to look at is hints. So I started this file a couple days ago, and the hints that I want to look at specifically are record hints. Now, what it tells me is there's 728 record hints that Ancestry has that I can bring into Family Tree Maker. And while I'm here, I want to point out this item that's on the screen where it says within the last 7 days. So sometimes this will say today. So Ancestry hasn't found any new hints based on what I had loaded up until this morning. So that's what I look at. So I've got 728 record hints. There's other hints available. The only ones I care about at this point in time are the record hints. I don't care about photos. There's 300 of them. There's stories. I may want them later, but right now that's not my focus. I'm going to move this guy off the screen because I want to describe how I manage all of those hints. There's a lot of hints there, but how do I manage them? Well, I a long time ago generated an Excel spreadsheet, and this is what it is. I use it all the time for each file that I have, but let me just talk about it a little bit. Again, if you haven't seen any of my earlier recordings, what I'm trying to do with this file is get ready for the 1950 census. It's also a file that I need to clean up. I did not create it. The data that's there does not meet my standards. How the data was entered do not meet my standards. So I want to clean it up, but I want it to be ready for the release of the 1950 census, which is in April 1st. So I do that by managing hints. I want Ancestry to give me record hints, and this is what I use to help manage that. This is an Excel spreadsheet. I know you can't read it, but that's okay. I'm showing a concept as opposed to something that you might use. Hi, Brian. How are you? From the United Kingdom. Well, thank you. I have ancestors that came from there many centuries ago, but that's beside the point. Thank you for dropping by and leaving your comment. Let me just get too many screens open, and I'll just continue. So anyhow, what I have in the first column is a list of records that I have in my database. My database of records from Ancestry. There's a couple fields here that I'll talk about later on, but over here on the right hand side are citations information. By that is in the sources workspace of Family Tree Maker, those are the records that are in my database. These are record groups, and if I click on different buttons, there's 5 citations for the 1880 federal census. And I got a screen that's hiding. There it is. I need to be able to bring this back up. There we go. So those records that you see, you can see it on the screen. This column right here, and let me see if I can't. This column right here, and this column right here is the same information. So I track what's in Family Tree Maker in this Excel spreadsheet, and I will talk a little bit more about that as I go on. So what I want to talk about right now is managing those 728 hints. You will notice that last night when I looked at the file, looked at the Ancestry member tree hints, there was 728, and that still exists today. But I only know in this file, I only know 273 of them. So that's where this Excel spreadsheet comes in, and that's what I want to talk about today, and how I manage those hints. What I have in my database is I have kept track of all of the records that Ancestry has. The trick here is that each record group has a database ID number that is consistent. So what I'm going to do is look at the hints that Ancestry has given to me, and I want to get them into my database so I know what records have hints on them, and then I can go from the hints down to the person. If you don't follow me, that's okay. This is complicated, but I'm demonstrating how I use Family Tree Maker 2019. So I'm going to bring this back. This is the list of hints that Ancestry has on my Ancestry member tree. Rearrange a couple of these screens. so I don't hide stuff. So this is the most recent hint that Ancestry found for me, and it's at the top of the list. The record group name is right here. It says U.S. Veterans Grave Site. So what I am going to do now is go into my database, and I'm going to find, if I have it, U.S. Veterans, and it's right here. So I already have that hint, and there's three people that have a hint for that record. So that record was signed to this person. I'm going to open up, I'm going to click on this link. This is a link. And there is the 1, 2, 3 people that have that record collection at Ancestry in my database. So I have these people in my database. Those 3 people have hints from the Ancestry database. So I'm not going to do anything with that right now, because, but I know who has that record group, and I will work them as I have time and the order in which I want to work them. Right now, I'm not interested in working or merging any of those records into my database. I will in another day or two, where I will demonstrate how I do that. So if you're watching on YouTube, please drop a note in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. Again, I'm doing this as part of what I normally do at RootsTech-2022. And just as a reminder, I'm going to put a link in the chat for a blog post that I did for our friends in the Ukraine, because I would normally be with them in Salt Lake City. It's at Roots Tech, but because Roots Tech is virtual this year, we're not together. But a lot of the people that develop this program, in fact, have been relocated within the Ukraine for their safety, and I have had communications with them over time. So advertisement over. They are great people, and in the blog post, there's a way we all can support the development team. Okay, so I took care of this first record. I've got another record, U.S. Marriage Newspaper.com collection for Marriage Index. I'm going to go the Marriage Index. Again, I already have that record collection in my database, and 21 people have records from that collection. The next record collection is 1930. Now, I may really want to work on that 1930 collection in preparation for in the preparation for the 1950 federal census. I will start on the 1940 census. Again, I recaptured this record collection. I have 15 people with 1930 federal census records. So I've got that. There's another collection called the Newspaper.com collection, Obituary, and I believe that I also have the U.S. Obituary. I have 38 people. Now, newspapers give a lot of information. They're my third choice of record collection in preparation for the 1950 federal census. Here's a collection that I will go after. the Find a Grave index. So let me see if I have the Find a Grave index, and sure enough, I have 49 people that have records in the Ancestry Find a Grave index. Index is the key word here. They don't have the information, but they have indexed another website called Find a Grave. But I will work the index first and then go to the Find a Grave website later on. One of the things that I need in preparation for the 1950 census is, are they still alive? So here's a record collection for the California U.S. Death Index, and I believe that I have that one as well. And I'm going to just make sure that it's their California Death Index. Now, I have already gone, and I'm not going to do any more on this page because I have already done, yeah, mouth broke. I already been through the first page of 37 pages of hints. So I already went through the first page, and they're in this Excel spreadsheet. And I think that if I just go down to the bottom, so I already know 273 of the 728 hints on Ancestry. So I'm going to go to the next page, and each page has 20 hints. So I'm on page 2, and now I'm going to find a record collection for Norfolk in England, and I don't believe that I have Norfolk, England. This is all sorted alphabetically, and sure enough, I do not have this record collection. So what I'm going to do is highlight that record collection name, and I highlight it because I want to make sure that I know exactly what the record collection name is. So I highlighted it, I hit Control C and Control V. Now you will see in Excel that there's a link here. I don't want that link. So I'm going to right click on Excel and remove the hyperlink. Oops. Something didn't go right there. Let me try it again. Copy, paste. There we go. That looks a little better. Now, here's where the fun comes in. What is the database ID number? Now, if I hover over that, if I look down at the bottom, and I can't move my cursor, but the bottom of the screen, it has a long URL. What I am interested in is the number 61045, which is the DBID 61045. So I'm going to type in 61045. Now, for grins and giggles, I'm going to click on that link because I can see the DBID here. That's this record collection. I could bring this data that's on this screen into my database, but I do not do that in Family Tree Maker. I do all the work getting the information from this record into my database within Family Tree Maker. What's of interest to me, though, is there's some information down here about the information where that record came from. It's on Ancestry. That's where I got it from. And there's a citation. The original data is the Church of England Parish Registers, Norfolk Record Office, Norwich, Norfolk, England. So that's where that record came from. If I want to look at it, I can click on View, and there is that record. Now keep in mind, this record is between 1535 and 1812. So it's kind of damaged, but the record is there, and I will take time to really make sure that that record is my person. And you'll see that there's some notes on the side: illegible uh, and water damage. I don't need that information, but I'd look at it before I bring it into my data, into my program, and I'm not going to do that uh, today at all. But I wanted to show you where the DBID came from that is now in my database. Now, I don't know yet how many people have that record collection that have hints from that record collection. So what I'm going to do is a trick that I learned. I'm going to copy that URL and right click on that cell and add a link and paste that URL from the other page and type in 61045 and click OK. Now I'm going to click that new active link, and I can tell that I have I have two people that have that record collection, that are hints from that record collection. So I put that in my Excel spreadsheet and put the date in. And so I now have two more of the 728 hints. So at some point in time, what I want to make sure at the end of the day that I have all 723 hints, that I know where they are. So when I go back to start working on my Family Tree Maker program and bring in some of those hints in, that I will select a record group and work that record group. Now I'm going to go back to Family Tree Maker, click the People Workspace and the Tree View, and there are those hints, and they show up in the shaky leaf hint from Ancestry. Yesterday, I spent some time talking about the FamilySearch hints, and in fact, another one just popped up. So more hints are coming in from FamilySearch, which is what I like, because if I enter data in my database, Family Tree Maker is going to be communicating with FamilySearch. And if FamilySearch thinks they have a match, Family Tree Maker has a match, they'll show me this blue square. Now, while I was talking, you saw a bunch of other hints come in from Ancestry. So I'm getting input into my database from both from Ancestry and from FamilySearch. I will work them. Again, the purpose of what I'm doing right now is to demonstrate here how I am managing those hints. As I mentioned yesterday on the FamilySearch piece that I talked about, all I care about is matching. And I'm just going to click on that blue icon to bring up this person, and I hover over that blue square. I can hover over it here, and it says one FamilySearch hint found. And if I'm going to click on that link, it's going to take me to the web search workspace. And what I am doing, that splash screen can go away permanently, but while I'm demonstrating, I'm going to have it keep showing up. So what I am going to do now is look at the data that's in my database, which is in the lower left-hand corner. and look at the data that's in the lower right-hand corner, which is the information from FamilySearch. I have two choices. I can merge the data from FamilySearch into Family Tree Maker, or I can tell Family Tree Maker that I have a match, that I believe that person from FamilySearch is my person in my database. I don't know yet. I don't have enough information yet, but let me show you what I'm going to look for. The names are close enough for government work, and relationships. I don't have a father or mother in my database yet because I haven't found them. But FamilySearch has the parents. And my task as I'm talking is to tell me if this profile on FamilySearch is the same person, the best that I can tell, as my database. So, but what is good is that I have a spouse, Michael, and a child, Mary Josephine, and a child, Mary Josephine. For my purposes, it looks like the profile on FamilySearch is the same profile that's in my database. So what I'm going to do is say match. There's a pop-up window that you can put a check mark in there and it won't show up again. I leave it open because I want to see it every time for demonstration purposes. So I can do the match to FamilySearch. And what's going to happen, or what is happening right now, is there's a, if I go back to the profile for that person and the person tab, you will see that a FamilySearch ID number has been added. Now I need to do my research log, which is the notes, the second tab, and this is 03 March 2022 Family Search Match. So what I'm doing here is just making a notation that I did a FamilySearch match, added this FamilySearch ID into my database. Now, if I come back here, you notice that that blue square is no longer here. But sometime in the future, what will happen is that blue box will become filled, will show up again, but the center will be dark. And I don't think that I have any in my database. I have a bunch of FamilySearch hints that I have not looked at. So I got 4 people watching. If you haven't done so, if you would just leave a comment, let me know where you're watching the recording from. I would appreciate it. If you have any questions, please put it in the comments. If you care to, put a thumbs up under the recording. And there's a description of the recording. What I'm talking about, I will try to do that every day. While Roots Tech is on, I expect to spend a couple hours while I work on my database. I will spend it live, so questions, um, I can answer questions or handle questions that may come in from Roots Tech, the Family Tree Maker booth that is on Roots Tech 2022. What I think that I'm going to do, since I demonstrated everything I wanted to, what I'm going to do now is probably end the recording, but what I'm going to do is spend more time working on my Excel spreadsheet because that's my goal for the day. That I want to get my spreadsheet caught up so I know where all of those hints are. And then later on in the week, later on in RootsTech, I will merge some of those records here in a recording and I will record how I do that and what I do. Uh, so if you have any questions that I can answer them. So I don't see any questions, but what I do want to do is one more time is uh, give you a link to my a blog post that I did yesterday uh, about our friends in Ukraine, just so you know that the developers of the program that I am demonstrating was developed by that group. Normally we would be in the booth, and the booth is behind me that I would normally be in, and it's a fairly large footprint in the Salt Palace, and they would be somewhere in the backside of that booth from where I am right now, and they would be talking to customers. So I'm talking to users as a user. I do not work for them. I am just a user of Family Tree Maker, and I do have a blog, and I'll put a link to the blog uh, into the chat right now if you care to visit it. Uh, if you are subscribed to this channel, I will probably go live a little bit later on today again for a half hour, 45 minutes as the Roots Tech conference is going on. Okay, thank you and have a great day.